Verse 752. The Buddha is neither a soul nor the Skandhas. He is knowledge free from evil outflows. Clearly perceiving him to be eternally serene, I take my refuge in him. This is rather a nice verse. Can you imagine the person writing it having come to a clear understanding, then sits for a while in the realization of the serenity of this understanding. We can take refuge in eternal serenity. Doesn't that sound nice? So what have we got? The Buddha is neither a soul nor the Skandhas. Skandhas are a description of our essential situation, our usual situation. They're generally understood as a way of dispensing with the notion of a soul. So you had these two teachings. The teachings of the jiva, the ego soul, which needs to be purified through countless rebirths before it realizes its enlightened nature and is one with everything or whatever. But the Buddhists came along and said, no, there's no soul. Buddhism is a very empirical teaching. It's not based on faith, or at least not in the way we usually understand it. Buddhism is very scientific. It demands the evidence. It sees no evidence for the ego soul. So what does it actually see? And this is where the Skandhas come in. It's a description of what is actually going on. And what is actually going on is, well, there's forms going on. This is rupa. There are also feelings going on. Perhaps connected with these forms. We then identify these forms as perceptions, something perceived through the senses. Some of them will be desirous, some will be wanting to avoid. And so we build up our sensibilities. This is the samskara. And then there's the feeling, the belief that this is real. This is what consciousness does. Consciousness takes as real whatever it's experiencing at that particular moment. That's the Skandhas. This is the dynamic that's going on. However, there's one thing that's not covered in this analysis which is going on, and that is what is carrying out the analysis. What is aware of all this? This is where we find the Buddha. This is where we find the Buddha. So the point of this verse is we mustn't get too dogmatic about either of these teachings. We don't get dogmatic about the teachings of the ego soul. We don't get dogmatic about the teachings of the Skandhas. Because what we're coming back to is awareness, and awareness is the primordial fact. It's the primordial fact. It is the one constant. A few verses ago it was called the Tathagata Garbha, the womb of the Buddha. The womb of the Buddha is what holds everything. It is the nature of our very own awareness, which can be visualized. If you're into visualizing, you can visualize it as a golden meditating Buddha. Because as soon as I say that the ultimate truth, if you like, is the awareness which is hearing this, it's a little bit disappointing. Because you're wanting something different. Even though you don't appreciate the treasure that you're sitting on. Because that's what this awareness is. It's like the treasure that the beggar has been sitting on all his life. The street beggar sitting at the same street corner all his life on his filthy rag, sitting there begging, hasn't realised that there's this buried treasure right underneath his dirty rug, his dirty piece of cloth. So this is a situation we need to appreciate this awareness. And here we can understand it as the Buddha. The Buddha, free from evil outflows. And this is the outflows described by the Skandhas. It's the outflow of the attention. It's what is getting caught up in all the constructions of consciousness. It's getting trapped in this dynamic of the Skandhas. So when we see this, when we've done this analysis, come back to the awareness. Come back to the awareness which is operating right now in you. Or you're actually operating in it. So for a short while at least, as we're practicing, allow the attention to rest in itself. Allow the world just to get on doing its thing, which is what it's doing anyway. And we allow the attention to rest in itself. And perhaps we can even do this while we're getting on with various activities. This is a possibility. You can do it in sitting meditation if you want. You can do it while you're listening to this video. Perhaps you can do it as you get up from your computer or whatever you're listening to or watching this on, and carry it through into your next task. It's always a bit tricky if that task involves interacting with other people, because then the attention has to go out. The attention has to go out. And then it's lost again. Realization is lost. But come back at any opportunity. When there's a drop in the conversation, when there's a lull in the conversation, come back. It's not so easy though, because our sensibilities kick in. They take over and we get caught in them. But do what you can. Don't get caught up in could do better mentality and all the rest of it. We just need lots of reminders, and that's what these videos are about. So we have this knowledge free from evil outflows, clearly perceiving the eternally serene. And this is the nature of our fundamental awareness. It's eternally serene. There's nothing to worry about here, nothing to worry about. There may be anxieties going on, it's part of our sensibilities, part of our samskara. But when we come back to this awareness, we can abide in the eternally serene.